Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, we're going to talk about conscious capitalism. What is this movement all about, and how can you get involved? Next.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, many of you will recognize this book. It became a New York Times and Wall Street Journal best-selling book some 15 years ago. It started a movement, and that movement continues to build momentum year after year. To talk about conscious capitalism, Tim Dickey. He's a product development and business agility coach. Thanks for coming on the show.
Oh, thank you for the invitation, Jeff. I really, really appreciate that.
Absolutely. Well, let's start with, what is conscious capitalism?
So conscious capitalism, it's a business philosophy that seeks to align profit-making with a greater sense of purpose, social responsibility, and it emphasizes that businesses should serve the interests of their stakeholders, not just their shareholders. And it's based on 4 tenets. So 1 is a higher purpose, 2 is a conscious culture being built based on core values, 3 is a conscious/servant leadership approach to moving the company forward, and 4th is a stakeholder orientation.
Okay, more on that in a second. I want you to get to know Tim, because Tim served our nation in the Navy. We're going to show a picture here, the Chief Petty Officer. Tell us about your career in the Navy.
So I spent nearly 25 years in uniform, Jeff, both active and reserve. Retired in 2016. And did 2 deployments to Afghanistan, boots on the ground. And the crazy part is that I started my career in the submarine force, and I ended serving alongside special operations units.
Wow. How would you say your service in the military shaped who you are today and how you approach an outlook on life?
So it goes back to the core values that both the Navy and Marine Corps hold in common, which is honor, courage, and commitment. And being able to bring substantive examples of that into the business world. It's a rough road, because many companies, they take kind of the path of situational values.
Yes.
And, being really committed to, hey, you know what, I'm going to live with honor. I am going to act in courage, even when my intuition and my consciousness are telling me otherwise. And then being committed to doing the right thing, even if it costs me something, that has been something that has held me in great stead.
Sure. And here in Dallas, we have a very active chapter of Conscious Capitalism, and you're on the board, is that right?
Yes, actually I'm a committee member, and specifically part of the programming committee, where we're doing all the scheduling and setting up the topics, inviting the guest speakers, and it's just, it's been a very unique experience. I am really new to this, so I'm kind of living a dream in a sense.
Well, I want you to give a shout out to your boss and your company, because you guys are actually giving and exercising conscious capitalism by hosting the meetings. So tell us about your company.
So I work for Improving, and we are an IT services company that specializes in everything from training to software development and anything in between. That we're even pushing into the artificial intelligence and machine learning market more so than what we have before. Going back to the whole support of conscious capitalism, and you mentioned it, which is every month, every week of the month, almost every night of the business week, we are a space for user groups and meetups that are technology focused to come in and meet free of charge. And we give them pizza, and we pay for the sodas as well. Nice. So we live into this, this belief that we're here not just to benefit ourselves and the shareholders, but also to benefit the communities in which we live.
Sure. One of the reasons I invited you on the show is because we have a big conference coming up here in Dallas, and there are still tickets. So let's go ahead and pull up the website so you can fill us in. Tell us about this conference.
So this conference is bringing together some of the best speakers who are going to inspire and cause you to think from all levels of an organization, from the executives all the way down to the staff, about what it is that you're doing in business and how you can do it better. Now, the neatest thing, I think, is that we did sponsor this conference back in 2018, so we're sponsoring it again as far as the local chapter is concerned. And John Mackey, who is one of the co-founders of Whole Foods and co-author of the book, as well as Raj Sisodia, who is also a university professor, they're both going to be on the speaking docket.
That's huge.
Yeah, and the other speakers in and of themselves are just incredible leaders in their own right. And they really exhibit the whole human side of what capitalism ought to represent.
Sure. We mentioned that you have a very active chapter. I found a video, and in this video, the whole chapter got together and watched this amazing movie/documentary called Beyond Zero. So let's go ahead and roll that clip.
And so I think that everywhere that we're already teaching business, we need to be teaching this expanded definition of success. You have to make money or you don't have a business, but getting beyond that is really important. Yeah, I mean, interface is still at the absolute forefront, but the thing is now they're not alone. And that was really the vision from Ray, was to inspire a second industrial revolution.
It's taking all those little steps so that you're chipping away at that foundation and retraining the muscle memory. Easy when we're all sitting around talking about sustainability, a lot harder when it's Thursday morning and you're just going about your routine.
There's something that happened after I watched the film that it's an experience. It absolutely motivates you to say, like, what can I do? Coming out of a pandemic where we all had to think about our neighbor, I think is the biggest piece, is hopefully we're helping raise people's awareness to not just Beyond Zero and not just sustainability and all the things that it speaks to, but also what conscious capitalism is about, which is what this was founded on, those 4 tenets.
I've been in conversations with members of the C-suite and they say, oh, it's not really a great time to do this. Oh, we're worried about our liquidity. Oh, we have issues with X, Y, and Z. So I'm just wondering, in your experience, what's something that can be used to say, hey, think about this when putting pen to paper and kind of justifying investing in sustainable efforts going forward?
The stories are out there about how when you make these investments, it creates the kind of resiliency that ballasts companies through bad times. The purpose, it's like we cannot let this thing, we can't let it go. And when you have 1,000 people or 5,000 people in your organization that believe in it that much, it just gives you this Teflon that you can get through stuff.
And so I think it's just those little things that you may think are innocuous, but they're not. And it doesn't matter where you are in the company, that you can make a difference.
And we're kind of all in this together, so we better own that.
What it makes me think about is, the 80s were somewhat defined by Gordon Gekko and Wall Street, and greed is good. And this is the exact opposite of that, isn't it?
Oh, very much so. In fact, it's challenging the norms. It's challenging a lot of the established belief around what this ought to look like. And you asked me a question. If people aren't able to attend the conference, where can they start? And I would suggest you can start at the local chapter level. Here in Dallas, we've got a website, which is consciouscapitalismdallas.org, or go to the international website, where there's a ton of resources that will assist you in your own journey, in helping your business pivot. Notice I didn't say move away, but pivot towards being more conscious about how you're doing business.
Tim, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom. We're going to end with the website if you want to get your ticket. Now's a good time to do it. consciouscapitalism.org/CCC Dallas. The great Tim Dickey, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.
That's it for now. We'll see you next time.